Hi, Soul Trader here. Today we're going to be talking about inflation. I'm going to assume most of you know what inflation is, but just in case you don't, here's a quick rundown. Inflation is just a function of supply and demand for money. We have inflation when the Fed prints more dollars, causing each dollar to become less valuable. This results in the general cost increase of goods and services. Inflation has been in the news a lot lately due to how quickly rates are rising. For example, in the United States, rates are sitting at 8.3% in the last year. If you think 8% seems bad, it's nothing compared to rates in other parts of the world, like for example Argentina, where rates are almost 80% in the last year. It's safe to say that inflation is wreaking havoc on the economy right now. But inflation is like a honey badger.
Honey badger don't care. Honey badger don't give a shit. It just takes what it wants.
When I started my research for this video, it was easy to find a million reasons why inflation is the redheaded stepchild of the economy. What did you just say? Oof, feisty one. Yeah, we make fun of gingers here. Anyway, I started to wonder if inflation is ever good for the economy, and if so, how? I found out that the Fed actually strives to reach for 1 to 2% a year. But why? I found a couple of reasons for this. Just to be clear, when I talk about inflation being a good thing, I'm talking about the Federal Reserve's interest rate target of 1 to 2% per year, not the extremely high inflation rates we are currently experiencing. Here's a quick rundown on a few ways healthy inflation rates help the economy. I'll go into more detail on these in a minute. Inflation keeps interest rates higher. It's easier to pay down certain types of debt. It stabilizes wages and employment and prevents deflation, also known as the Thrift Paradox. You might be wondering how interest rates could possibly help you. It won't help with variable interest rates such as credit cards, but the higher interest rates keep people from overspending and disrupting the supply chain. Lower prices could cause unmanageable spikes in demand, and we know what can happen if even one major import can't keep up with demand. A whole host of products that need that import may not be able to keep up with demand as well, like what happened with the recent chip shortage. Higher interest rates now also give the Fed the ability to lower interest rates during times of economic slowdown like they did during the COVID lockdown. If interest rates had already been really low, it wouldn't have done much to temporarily boost the economy and encourage spending. Inflation is especially good for homeowners. Since your interest rate and payment stays the same, but wages inflate over time, it can become easier over the years to make payments on your mortgage. Inflation also helps build up equity over time, as inflation causes your property value to increase. Inflation also stabilizes wages and employment. Inflation prevents employers from slashing wages if they had a rough year. Instead, the company could raise prices to offset operating costs. It also gives the employee negotiating power when it comes to their salary. If an employer knows they will raise rates in the near future, they may be inclined to give an employee's higher asking wage, knowing they will soon offset the operating cost of that employee. A bonus point I want to add is the fact that steady, healthy inflation rates make it easier to plan for retirement. It makes it easier to calculate how much money you will need to retire and what the value of your dollar will be in the future. And finally, it helps prevent deflation. Deflation is basically the opposite of inflation. Deflation would be the overall cost of goods and services going down over time. Reduced prices of goods and services cut into companies' profits. Reduced profits mean that they have to cut spending, wages, benefits, you get the idea. The concept of deflation leads me into my next point, which is the Thrift Paradox. If you've ever seen the madness that happens on Black Friday, you know what I'm talking about. Thrift Paradox is essentially where people wait for a better time to buy something because they think it'll be cheaper in the future. In conclusion, inflation at a healthy rate is a lot like an elephant trampling through a forest. Inflation, elephant, they both kind of seem destructive at first, but they actually help stimulate the undergrowth or the economy in the long term. Well, that's all for today. If you made it this far in the video, you might as well hit the like and subscribe button. Remember to trade gingerly, and I will see you in the next video.